Hello, everyone. Welcome. Ahaumna here. I wanted to do a quick little video for you as we are heading into our eclipse portal this evening into tomorrow morning. And I wanted to share with you a way that you can utilize feng shui in the preparation of your space and understand a little bit more about how this eclipse is going to show up specifically for you. So I'm going to be sharing my screen and showing you how you can interrelate what is going to be happening in the eclipse in your astrological chart with feng shui, how to prepare your home space for that so that you can receive the most auspicious blessings during this eclipse gateway. So let us dive in first here to our astrological chart for the eclipse. All right, let's zoom out. I can see everything a little too much. All right, so we are looking at, first and foremost, if you have not seen my astrology before, you must know that I utilize Sidereal astrology, which is the correct placements of where the zodiac and the planets are actually in relationship to the earth at this moment in time. So if you were looking at tropical astrological insights pertaining to this eclipse, you're going to see this happening in Taurus. Whereas if you actually take your phone and you take your sky scanner app and you point it up to the sun, you're going to see the sun is in Aries. This is an Aries eclipse. So you can see over here, we have the sun and the moon, and we have this chart dated for tonight at 9:34 p.m. in where I'm living on the East Coast, and that's 1:34 Universal Time, which is coming into that moment around the exact eclipse. Let's zoom this in a little bit. I think there we go. Oops. So what I want to talk about is, I'm not going to dive too much into the overview of the eclipse. I'll give some of the insights of what I sense. That being said, the most important thing that wants to come through about this, because I want this to be more about you specifically and not necessarily about the greater collective. That being said, in the greater collective, this eclipse is happening at the very first degrees of Aries. We are coming into a new cycle, a new period. We are also having the North Node within 4 degrees of this eclipse. So in that position of the North Node is also in this conjunction with the sun and the moon during the eclipse. So that to me is this powerful force. And I say force because Aries is the fire energy. It's also initiation, it's new beginnings. We've come out of this whole period. We've gone through all 12 signs and we're now back in Aries to ignite something new. And this eclipse being here and this newness, our eclipses last year in Pisces, in Virgo, and coming into this more like shadowy energy that needed to come up for healing and transformation. We're now initiating new beginnings, truly entering into new beginnings that will take us through this whole year until the end of the year eclipses. So we are in this long-term year of seeding new ideas, new potentials, new futures, and initiation, a period of initiation. So I'm going to share now about how you can really prepare your life, your space to initiate the new. And it's going to show up differently for everyone based on where this eclipse is happening in your charts. So let's show how to find that. I like to use astro.com, super easy, free site. And then you're going to go to horoscopes and drawings, extended chart selection. You're going to add yourself and you're going to put in all your birth data if you don't already have an astro.com chart. And then you're going to make sure that you select the correct sidereal so that you get the true alignments. And I personally have found that the galactic center is where I like this chart to begin because it is the center of our actual galaxy. So it makes sense for me, instead of some man-made point, to have the Ahaumna at the galactic center. So Sidereal, galactic center, and then you're going to go to your personal chart, and I'm going to show you this on mine. So we got everything set, and show the chart. Then you're going to need to hit with transits. Now, if you look this up today, the transits will already be set for today. If you look it up tomorrow and you're like, oh, I saw this video a little late, I'll show you how to change that in a moment. So we're seeing, I'm making this video at 1610 Universal Time. So it's a little bit before the eclipse is happening. So we're seeing the moon is still here in Pisces. We've already looked at the eclipse chart, so we know that that eclipse is happening where the sun is at those first degrees of Aries. So you can, if you're looking at this before the actual eclipse, take where the sun is transiting, and the moon will be catching up to it over the next several hours as we go into the evening, 9 hours to be precise from when we're making this video right now. So I know that this eclipse is happening for me in my 7th house. So the first thing I want you to do is check out what number house this eclipse is happening for you. And then I want you to go read about the house. I'm not going to go through all of the houses in depth. There's so much intricacies that you could look into and so much wisdom that you could tap into from that. I'll give you a little bite size from each of them. If the eclipse is happening in your 1st house, this is really going to be about your sense of self, who you identify as in this world, how you show up in your life, how you take charge of your life as a person, charismatic, personality related. In the 2nd house, this Aries in the 2nd house, this eclipse is going to be around your wealth and how you create for yourself and initiating some new projects, maybe some new investments and some new opportunities to potentially, on the other side of this eclipse, experience some great financial windfalls. In the 3rd house, this is a great time to be writing, to be speaking, to be communicating, to be working on initiating. I know that there's probably been something that you have been feeling like you need to express. And through this eclipse, it's about revealing what that is and initiating that, initiating the expression. The 4th house, there is some energy here with your family, your ancestry. Maybe it's a time when you are having children, creating something new. It could also be creating something new that is not a baby, or it could be coming into new relations with your family, cleansing and purifying things in your family unit, and taking steps, initiating change in your family. In the 5th house, this is really going to be some of the creativity and passion, connection. Be wise to not gamble during this time if it's happening in your 5th house, or take any chances with the lottery, things like that. Though, hey, it may be an opportunity if you have some of the other wealth planets at that point in your wealth blueprint. Then it may be a great time for you to play the lottery or do some gambling. That being said, typically staying sober, if this is in your 5th house, is a really, really important thing because it can be a space where we overindulge and we get ourselves in trouble. So it could be also revealing any addictive tendencies that are happening that are actually blocking your creativity. So it is about opening up to greater creativity. And in that, we may also need to recognize what is, what needs to burn through Aries so that we can ignite a new creative spark. In the 6th house, this is going to be related to your service to the world, your health, your wellness, your well-being. So if that is happening in the 6th house, you may be initiating new health-related services into the world. You may be getting involved with projects that are going to be really important as we come. If you didn't watch my year-long astrological gene key Human Design Course 7, which is a 7-day program. I'll drop the links below here if anyone wants to catch that, watch the replay. The end of this year, we have some astrological things happening that are really indicating that we are moving into holistic wellness, natural healing, and we're going to have a huge breakdown of the medicine model as we know it. So if you are having this eclipse in your 6th house, I know Alex, many of you know my partner Alex, his is happening there, and he is in the space of getting initiated into these new healing technologies and new healing pathways for humanity. So with it being here, it's likely going to be either initiating a new healing cycle for yourself, and really though, how is that going to serve the world? How's that going to serve humanity? 7th house is our relationships and the connections that we make with other people, not only our intimate relations, business partnerships, love partnerships, partnerships with our friends, and communication, how we communicate in those relationships, how we come together, how we support each other. In our 8th house, we are in the space of, creatively receiving is the energy of this Aries, is allowing new opportunities to come in, allowing yourself to receive insights and downloads and transmissions that are going to serve you and open you up to receiving the resources that you need to ignite those ideas that you have, those big ideas that you have. 9th house, we're going to have an opportunity for new ideas to come through that are bringing about a higher consciousness, right? New ideas igniting a higher consciousness and spreading those ideas through this eclipse period on the other side of it, between May and the end of the year, igniting new ideas, spreading new ideas that elevate the consciousness and that ignite a new consciousness for humanity moving forward. If this eclipse is in your 10th house, be ready for some business expansion, career focus, and really getting clear on projects that you want to be igniting. Projects maybe that have got a little stagnant, that you want to put a little fire into. Now is the time to put that fire in and get that moving. If this eclipse is in your 11th house, this is your networking. Tap into your innate ability to network and connect with other humans, because this is where your success is going to come through. Networking, connecting, reaching out to people, asking how you can support them, allowing them to ask you how they can support you, telling them how they can support you, bridging those networks, bridging those connections. And if this eclipse is happening in your 12th house, then this is a time to go into a deeper spiritual process. Maybe you meditate through the eclipse. Maybe you take some time to be silent. Maybe you go into what is happening in your world and you uncover something new about yourself, and you allow that to fuel you moving forward into the future, into an opportunity where your spiritual nature comes more online in this eclipse portal. So now that we've covered very basic, again, go and type into your favorite search engine or ChatGPT and say, hey, what is the 12th house about? What is the 11th house about? Tell me more about the 10th house, and get a full download. I don't want this video to be super long today, so we're just getting the bite-sized important bits. The other thing that I want to share with you, that is how you can prepare your home utilizing feng shui. And I'm going to need to share a different screen now so that we can see everything happening at once. So let me arrange that to be possible here. And this is a little something that I started doing that would allow me to connect into my home, because for those of you who know, I've been studying feng shui and deeply feng shuiing our home for the last year and a half now, like rather obsessively, because it has been so impactful. And I wanted to get a sense of where is the area in my house that this eclipse is really going to be impacting, so that I can cleanse that area, so that I can tidy up that area so that I can fix anything that's broken, water plants, do what's needed in those areas so that that area of my house can hold what it is that I'm tapping into, and we get a little bit deeper of an insight into how this eclipse is impacting us. So we're going to screen share again here. All right, all right. So you want to still have your astrological chart up. I'm gonna move that out of the way. And now you're going to see on the left side here, that a little bit, the feng shui compass. Now we are going to essentially overlay this compass to understand the direction that this eclipse is taking place in your astrological chart. So to do that, what you need to know is that the IC is north, the MC is south, the DC is west, and the AC is east. Your ascendant is where the sun is rising when you were born, which is the sun rises in the east, sets in the west. Okay, so how this feng shui compass looks right now is correct, with the north at the bottom, the south at the top. And basically what you want to do is you still have your transits on so we can see exactly where you find that sun, and then you visually overlay and find the direction. So this is very obvious to me here. The eclipse is happening in the west part of my chart, right? So if the eclipse was up here, this would be the southwest. If the eclipse was up by the midheaven, it's going to be happening in the south. If the eclipse is over by your 10th and 11th house, that's going to be a southeast eclipse. If the eclipse is by the 12th house and the first house, that is going to be east, right? Going into the, end of the first house and the second house, you're going to have a northeast eclipse. If you're down here in the third and the fourth house, you're going to have a north eclipse. And then if you're over here, end of the fourth through beginning of the sixth, you're going to have that northwest, right? So you're essentially eyeing it, or you can, if you are a graphic design wizard and you want to overlay and get precise with it, most likely you'll be able to eyeball it and trust what you initially feel. If it is very close to like being right on the cusp, like let yourself trust yourself. You can't make any mistakes here. All you would do would be clean an area of your house that probably needs to be cleaned. So what I want you to do is, once you know the side, the direction, we're looking at the west here in this body's chart, which is all about creativity and is about, children. That being said, it's not necessarily always children. Like, creativity is all the things that we create, right? And we can see then the element that's involved. We can see the colors that are involved. And most importantly, though, we want to know the direction of our house. So you want to find the direction in your home. You can get a compass on your phone, toggle it, and walk around from your front door and see where is the west of my house, or where is the south of my house, where is the east. Find that area of your house, and first and foremost, clean it. Make sure there is nothing broken. Make sure there are no plants with dead leaves. Water any plants that are in those areas. Sweep, clean, and then take a bowl, fill it with salt, and place that salt bowl in that direction, which is going to cleanse and purify the space. And you want to start that today and dump it after the eclipse, so tomorrow morning, so that it's cleansing that area of your life through this eclipse, which is really what is a powerful element of these eclipses, that it cleanses these areas of our life so that we can see clearly moving forward when our feminine and masculine come into alignment within, which is synergy, right? It's about synergy. So look to those areas of your life and clean them up, salt bowl, and that is going to set you up between now and the 5th of May, which is when we have our lunar eclipse. And that is going to be this 2-week period that I want to talk about and how you can prepare your space for it to have the best possible outcomes. So I quickly just want to show you how to change dates of the transits that you'll see. So if you watch this video after the eclipse and you're watching it, let's say on the 20th, you can I still recommend doing all of this, going through cleaning that area, because it's a 2-week period that this area of your house is going to be activated, that this area of your life is going to be activated. So you would just change the start date. This is where you're going to see your transit. So this is the date that you want to change. So the 19th of April is what you want to look at for your solar eclipse. And then we want to go to the 5th of May to look at everything else stays the same, to look at our lunar eclipse. And then remember, you always want to click with transits. And you will see that we have now our sun, middle of Aries, and you're going to see our moon is now in Libra, as our lunar eclipse is when the sun and moon are in opposition with each other. So just as we looked at the direction, right? So now we're at the end of west, right? So we're still in that first direction, right? We're coming to the end of that west. So we're really in that space of west, southwest energy, at least in this chart here. Yours might be much more clear, and I'll tell you how I'm going to work with this being a little bit blended, being right on that cusp of south and west and southwest. So then it's going to be also on the cusp down here of east, right? The moon, you want to look to see where your moon is, right on that line of east and northeast. So these areas of the house are going to be the areas that we're moving through and activating during the eclipse. So for me, this is moving from east. The moon is going to be traveling from west, and it's going to be going counterclockwise. So it's first going to go west to southwest to south to southeast to east to northeast, right? So that is the activation cycle that the moon is taking in my feng shui life. So if your solar eclipse is happening, let's say in the northeast, then for you, you're going to go northeast, north, northwest, west, southwest, right? And that's going to be the area of your house that is being influenced during this 2-week period of time. And what I want to really talk about is how we can best move through our house. And I'm not talking about doing a huge feng shui overhaul. I'm talking about cleansing the space. That's it. Cleansing the space so that as the tides change, our space, our inner world, and our outer world are ready to hold who we are becoming through this eclipse portal, right? And that is being directly focused on the house and the initial starting point. So for me, that's creativity. And the ending point there is, health and knowledge. So, right, higher wisdom, health related experiences, and to be in that space, like right after the lunar eclipse, I'm going to get a major health treatment that I'm being gifted in this space. So it's kind of perfect how it plays out. And I'm imagining in your life, you're looking at certain things and you're like, oh, hey, this timing is actually like perfectly playing out. And it is to complete something, to bring something into fullness, because this is a total eclipse. It's coming into fullness. Something in these areas of our lives are being amplified and enhanced, right? And have the potential of coming into fullness. And chances are, what is happening in your solar eclipse, what is being initiated in your solar eclipse, is going to need resolution in your lunar eclipse to allow for the fullness of your solar eclipse to manifest in your life, right? So I can say that with absolute certainty in my own experience, where to tap into this next layer of creativity and expanding my relationships, my collaborations, my partnerships, that this deeper healing of my body is a part of that, so that I can have the strength to go travel the world and do all the things that my body is currently almost ready for. For those of you who don't know about my several year neurological healing challenge, this is the last piece. So chances are really contemplate as well, like, how is this over here, what's being ignited through your solar eclipse, needing resolution in your lunar eclipse to really bring forth. And this 2-week period is about creating the space for that resolution, preparing yourself, preparing your inner world and your outer world. So what I would recommend you do is that today we start with our salt bowl in the west. We cleanse the west of our house, right? Or for you, if it is in the east, whatever position that is for you. Salt bowl, cleanse it, sweep it, dust it, wipe it down, get rid of anything that's broken or anything that is damaged, or any, if you have dead plants, things like that, get rid of them. Cleanse the space. If it happens to fall in your kitchen, clean your fridge. If it happens to fall in your closet, clean out some clothes, right? And see what you can bring into that space that represents what you want to be experiencing there. So it can be the color that amplifies that space. Let's say it's happening in the north for you. Maybe you bring in some water, or you bring in some blue or black, right? Or you bring in something that represents you living your life purpose. Maybe it is a picture of you doing something that you love that is a part of your career, or it is a symbol that represents that. Place that in that area, amplify it in that area. Then we're going to work over the next 2 weeks, cleansing the other areas of our house that the moon is going to be transiting through. Okay, so if you want to be hyper analytical about this, which I personally often tend to do that, you are going to take your transits and you're going to follow the moon through the sky from the solar eclipse to the lunar eclipse in your chart. And I'll show you how to do that. So we are at April 19th. So we are in a 2-week period. So that is, roughly 14 days or so. Let's see here. Let's count our exact days. We have 2, 14, really 16 days. So then we're going to take how many directions the moon is going to be traveling through. For me, from west to east, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Divide 16 by 4. For most of us, it's going to be 4. Unless you happen to have it on that cusp, then it's a little estimate, right? 16 divided by 4, you're going to be looking at, what is that? Quick math here for anyone, like roughly 4, or exactly 4. So every 4 days, the moon is going to be moving into the next direction in your chart, in your house. So every 4 days, you're going to take a salt bowl and you're going to bring it to the next direction. Remember, it's going to be going counterclockwise. So if you're starting in the north, then in 4 days, you're going to put that bowl of salt in the northwest, and you're going to clean the northwest part of your house while the moon is energizing that area of your chart. Then in 4 days from then, you're going to go into the west and you're going to clean that up, right? Is this making sense? Very simple. Every 4 days, work with your calendar. This is a 16-day ritual, right? So treat it like a ritual, treat it like a ceremony. Take out your calendar, write down your dates, write down the day that what is 4 days from today. Okay, I'm going to put the salt bowl there. I'm going to clean this area of my house there. It doesn't need to be a huge, expansive deep dive of cleaning and mastering feng shui. It doesn't need to be difficult. It can be simple. It's just the ritual. It is the offering of cleansing and then placing something meaningful that represents that area of your life. And you can quickly, take a screenshot of this video and look at the feng shui map and see what that area represents. Okay, so when you're cleansing the Northwest, okay, what is something that would represent to me in my life, networking and mentorship, or maybe it's just adding some of these colors into that area, right? Then in 4 days, you would move to the West and seeing it as a holistic process so that by the time we get to the 5th of May and the lunar eclipse, you now have the sun where it began for you, which for me is the West, and then the moon in the opposite in the East. And you will have cleansed that whole cycle through your house that has been basically like this, the moon is basically bringing the energy of wherever it began, and it's bringing it through all these areas of your house and of your life as well. So not only cleansing your house on those every 4 days when you are placing the salt bowl, I want you to contemplate what that direction, what that energy of that direction means to you. Is there something about it that feels really amazing and you want to write out some gratitude notes? And then also look at what doesn't feel aligned. What do you wish to be cleansed in this eclipse process? What do you wish to let go of in that area of your life and of your chart? Now you can also take this through the houses. That being said, it gets a little bit more extensive when you do that. And you can contemplate those other houses that the moon is traveling through. So if we go back to just showing the astrological chart here with the transits, right? So the moon here is going from what will be the 7th house, and it's traveling all the way through to the 1st house, right? So you can be contemplating this. This would be the section of my life that I'd be contemplating as the moon is moving through these houses, right? And this is really about, the higher, more spiritual nature of things. And that would, take it into how does this creativity want to move through me, right? How does this creativity want to open up and expand my relationships where this began, 7th house, right? And just start contemplating the inner part of this experience for you. The most important thing to remember about eclipses is that it's not just a one singular moment in time during the solar eclipse, and then we don't think about it again, and then we think about the lunar eclipse when it happens. The most auspicious experience that you are going to have is if you take this as a 16-day ceremony and you allow it to be that for you, and you do the inner and the outer reflection to bring your life into balance, to then experience the fullness of what is being opened for you, ignited through you throughout this eclipse portal. And, some might look at this and be like, oh, that's just too much work. I don't want to do it. And that's totally fine. And if that is how you naturally show up and like, I don't want to do things, that seems like too much work. Aries is about doing the damn thing. Aries is about initiating change, doing the things, starting the fire, the motivation. So really sit with, why do I not want to have a 2-week-long ritual? Why do I not want to create a ceremony? Like, why do I feel like this is too much time to just tidy up and think about my life differently? Because whatever that is, this is the opportunity to burn that to the ground, to initiate a new version of yourself that does show up, that commits in a bigger way. And commitment is such an important energy. It is the energy that brings out our greatest success in life. And I really hope that if there is any resistance to how you show up through these periods, that you contemplate that, right? You get real with yourself. You ask questions. You don't just brush something aside and that's it. Because true growth happens when we actually are being responsible for how we are showing up. And that doesn't mean that you sit down trying to convince yourself to do this. It's not about that. It's not about convincing yourself to do something. It's about contemplating why and what part of you doesn't want to do it. And then asking, is this actually honoring who I want to become? Is this the version of myself that I am showing up in right now that is who I want to become, that is serving who I want to become? And if that is a no, then this is a great time to change. This is a great time to initiate something new. So maybe this is that new ritual of cleansing and initiating change in your life that feels really delicious and really amazing. And maybe it's not, right? Maybe there's something else that watching this bubbles up. And if you have another thing that you love to do and that feels really amazing as you contemplate this and look at your own charts, like leave it in the comments and share it. Maybe someone else will be inspired by that, and share if you do end up doing this 16-day ritual and how you feel on the other side. I love hearing back from you if you do play with this in any way, shape, or form, because it is lots of fun to be connected and be supporting each other. So I am going to wrap this up now. Thank you everyone for watching, for being here. If you have any questions about anything that was shared, do feel free to leave them in the comments. And if you are not already aware, I am doing a 3-day training on your wealth blueprint using astrology, human design, and the gene keys in the Sidereal systems, and looking specifically at our outer celestial bodies and really connecting in with our version of success and what we want to be initiating in this moment of our lives, which is why it's happening in the smack dab middle of this eclipse. So I will put the link to join that in the comments here. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Sending you all lots of love, happy, beautiful eclipses, and I will see you all on the other side.